cold water, endless and black, stretching far beyond what the eye can see. Somewhere in the distance, waves crash violently against the rocks, but there's no one around to hear it except the island itself. Alcatraz sits there in the middle of the San Francisco Bay, silent, isolated, and completely cut off from everything familiar. Inside the prison, the guards are asleep. The halls are still, no movement, no noise, just the heavy feeling that nothing ever changes in a place like this. And yet, in that exact moment, three men are doing something that should be impossible. They are quietly squeezing through a hole that was never meant to exist. In a prison designed to make escape physically impossible. Back in the cells, everything still looks normal at first glance. The beds are occupied, the figures are still, but they aren't real people. They are carefully crafted decoy heads, made from soap, paper, and hair, left behind to buy just enough time. Outside those walls lies the real challenge. The waters of the San Francisco Bay are freezing, violent, and unpredictable. Even the strongest swimmers don't last long out there, because no one has ever escaped Alcatraz. And more importantly, no one is supposed to. But on this night, something has already gone wrong. Alcatraz wasn't just a prison. It was the final stop. The place where the system sent the men it couldn't control. Surrounded by freezing currents, steel bars, and armed towers, it was designed to break people down completely. If you were sent here, it meant one thing: you were considered beyond redemption. Frank Morris didn't look like someone who would change that system. He was quiet, observant, careful, the kind of man who watched more than he spoke. He wasn't born into violence. There was no obvious path that led him here. His childhood was unstable, moving through foster homes, never really belonging anywhere. By the time he was a teenager, crime had already become part of survival. And over time, prison life started to feel less like punishment and more like routine. But Morris had something different, a mind that never stopped analyzing. Later tests would suggest he had a genius-level IQ. But more important than intelligence was how he used it. He didn't just see rules, he studied them. He looked for patterns, weak points, gaps in systems that most people never notice. Then, there were the Anglin brothers, John and Clarence. They came from a completely different world, a life shaped by poverty, hard labor, and constant struggle. They learned early that survival often meant bending rules or breaking them entirely. Their crimes weren't about chaos. They were about escape, money, a way out of a life that felt locked in place. Eventually, all three men ended up in the same place. Alcatraz, a prison, designed not just to hold people, but to erase hope. But hope doesn't disappear easily. It didn't start with action. It started with watching. Day after day, they observed everything: the guards, the routines, the timing of every movement. Slowly, something important became clear. Everything in the prison ran on patterns, predictable, repeating, familiar, and anything predictable can be studied. Behind the walls of their cells was something most people never thought about: a narrow utility space, hidden, overlooked, poorly secured. It was a flaw in the system, waiting to be discovered. And once they saw it, there was no going back. They began working with the only tools they had: simple metal spoons. Nothing more. Night after night, they chipped away at the concrete beneath their sinks. Slow, careful, controlled. Every sound had to be hidden. Every moment had to look normal. To cover the noise, they used something unexpected: music. When instruments played in the prison, the scraping of metal disappeared into the background, and little by little, the wall began to open. First small, then wider, until it was large enough to pass through. But getting out of the cell was only the beginning. To survive inspection, they built something even more convincing: fake heads, made from soap, toilet paper, and real hair collected from the barber shop. Placed carefully on their pillows, They looked real enough in the dim light to fool anyone passing by, and it worked. Now came the hardest part, the water. The San Francisco Bay isn't just cold, it's dangerous in a way that most people underestimate. Strong currents pull in unpredictable directions. The temperature alone can shut the body down within minutes. Even trained swimmers struggle to survive it. So instead of fighting the ocean, they tried to outthink it. They built a raft. Not from materials meant for survival, but from raincoats. Over 50 of them, stitched together, sealed carefully, transformed into something that could float. It wasn't perfect, but it didn't need to be. It only needed to work once. On the night of June 11th, 1962, everything came together. The prison was quiet. Lights were out. The island felt completely asleep. One by one, they moved through the escape route they had spent months building, through the tunnel, into the corridor, up the pipes, onto the roof. No alarms, no warnings, no mistakes. And by the time they reached the shoreline, the prison still didn't know. They inflated the raft, stepped into the water, and disappeared into the darkness. By morning, nothing looked wrong at first. Beds were still made, figures still in place. Everything appeared normal until someone looked closer and realized the truth. They were gone. This wasn't luck. It was patience, planning, control. Most people under pressure break. They react, they panic, they make mistakes. But Morris didn't. He stayed calm, focused, methodical, because he understood something most people don't. Every system has weaknesses, even the strongest ones, and those weaknesses usually come from routine. When everything becomes predictable, it becomes vulnerable. What happened that night remains one of the greatest mysteries in criminal history. 3 men entered the water and were never seen again. Maybe they drowned in the freezing currents, or maybe they didn't. And that uncertainty is exactly what makes this story endure. Because sometimes what the most disturbing part isn't what we know, it's what we don't.